Good morning, good morning. It helps having the mic on, doesn't it? How's everyone? The early stream, early-ish, 9 a.m. Eat my coffee. Right, so, what's up? Well, we're having two streams today, first of all. One in the morning and one later in the evening. Well, my time, evening, my time. That's something new. I don't think I've ever done that before. Well, actually, I've done once. I had a 12-hour marathon where I played. I believe I played World of Warcraft back then, and I did two streams. Pretty sure I did. Either way, doesn't really matter. On the agenda today, we're back to game dev, which surprisingly, not really. And the goal we have today, we have a few goals. But the main one is that I want to address an issue we had last time, which was exporting environment assets, especially foliage, trees, from Blender to just got distracted. Something flashed, like outside of my view. Easily distracted. No, so we want to export Blender assets, Megascale assets from Blender to Unreal. We want to use them in the PCG system where the that is placing all of our foliage, trees, you name it. We want all of that to work. I need to double check. Is everything working? I think it is. As always, I'm trying something new again. Like, I've been doing this for almost a year now, and I still haven't kind of nailed down a simple system that just works. No, absolutely not. Can't do that. I mean, that would be easy. That would be simple. A second, just to confirm again that we're on top of things. But yeah, that is where we are at. Like, straight away, heard sound, so we're fine on that end. Right. What happened last time? Summary of last time. Kind of poked at that topic a few seconds ago. Last time, I wanted to update all the placeholders I had, or still have, in the Unreal scene, or inside Unreal. And that went poorly, to summarize it like in a nice way. Fab, I'm not complaining on Fab, don't get me wrong. But what happened is there were some incompatibilities with the current version of Unreal I was using. Many of the assets I wanted were either, for some reason, not sure why, but they were either completely made for animation. They were all skeleton meshes. I didn't see at that point, still haven't seen it, a way to kind of extract these static meshes from that, because that's what I want. I just wanted the pure static mesh and nothing else. Didn't want the deltoid meshes and things like that. These trees will likely not be animated to an extent that needs skeleton meshes. Also, when we tried to download from scenes or from asset packages that had static meshes, they were not compatible with 5.7, or I had to, I don't know. That's kind of the big reason. For some reason, most of the assets I wanted to download were not compatible with 5.7. So I'm trying to go around it by downloading the raw files. Got that into Blender. Actually, we can kind of do this. I can open that package. So the package we're working with, well, it was this one. Please ignore that purple. I can kind of do this. There we go. Do I need to do this? Need to hold down Shift, get all these showing up. So these assets didn't show up, unfortunately, or didn't export correctly from Blender to Unreal. Don't know why, but what over the weekend or with many days between the stream, I've managed to fix it. I'm not 100% sure why it's working right now because I'm pretty sure I follow the exact same steps during the stream that I did off stream. Just not sure what's happening. Mohammed, good morning. How's life? Life is good. Well, it's early. Reminds me. Give me a coffee. Good. Love my coffee. I've been off it, by the way, a few days. Just felt like it because what coffee does. Sorry if you're kind of squeezy with these type of topics, but it kind of affects your gut. If you drink too much, you tend to get unstable in your stomach. That makes sense? Yeah, fun. Coffee is amazing. It is. It is amazing. I love it. I do love it. One more. So once we've gone through the export, I'm going to grab a few assets that I've downloaded yesterday. If I do sound slightly less energetic than usual, it is because I've managed to get into bed at, I believe, give or take a few minutes or a quarter every now and then, about 2:30 in the morning because I felt like I kind of realized like fairly late in the evening last night, yesterday, that I'm not prepared. I wasn't prepared for the day. I wasn't ready to kind of get into it, and I didn't want to expose you all to this tedious idea of sitting and watching me download stuff from Fab, or which is the old ordinary marketplace. So yeah, it was late night, and when I did go to bed, I didn't fall asleep. I'm assuming till like 4 a.m. So yeah, you can kind of guess that now that it's 9 a.m. I've been awake since just after 8 a.m. So give or take 4 hours of sleep. Awesome. So why I'm kind of chugging down coffee right now is kind of to get that artificial energy going. You're a true biologist. There you go. You got a question? Sure. For an environment artist, is it necessary to model anything? No. That is my quick answer, or short answer. And that goes for everyone, I'd say. The reasons you want to do it yourself, there's many of them, to be honest, but none of them are crucial and absolute. The big one, I'd say, time. If you don't have time, like myself, I can't model everything. I might do it just for the sake of the stream and because I want to learn. That is the big two reasons for me personally why I might model most or everything. Likely though, I'm going to try to save time, grab a few stuff online. You can think of this. If you can spend $5, I'm going to convert this to dollars. If you're in Europe, that's 4 or 5 euros or something. Then if you can spend that money, if you have the resources to do it, that means you've saved maybe, depending on the asset, maybe like a few days or up to a week of work. So yeah, it really depends. But the absolute first simple answer to your question is no, you do not have to model everything yourself. And also you can kind of think of it as this. Most big companies today, like you can pick Ubisoft, DICE, let's go Blizzard, there's the same as Ubisoft, or Activision at least. All of these, in some capacity, do outsourcing. And they have asset libraries. So not all of their artists has had their hands on everything in the world. So no. I'm repeating myself, but no. You do not have to model everything. Great question, by the way. But yeah, this is a... Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Welcome, by the way, and good morning to you. Ughad Itya? God, I've pretty much butchered that pronunciation, didn't I? I think that we're in the stage where I can just get into it. Today's, or at least this morning session, we're going to have one later on if you're just jumped in, we're gonna have 2 streams today. This morning session, I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna repeat a lot of steps, and maybe the first hour or 2 will be the most interesting, to be honest. And after that, I might just repeat the process again and again. But that's where we're at. So we need a new scene. This scene, you know what? Actually, this scene is perfect in the sense that I can kind of go through what I did to fix the LOD export issue I had last time. Ugh, or ugh? Is it ugh or ugh? Yeah, Aditya. That's a kind of tongue twister for me, to be honest. Aditya. I'll try better. Be better. All right, so the way I did eventually make that again. The way I eventually got this to work was, first of all, you need, let's just separate one of these. So I'm just placing all of my assets. I have all my LODs same place. Well, first of all, you need LODs. You don't have that, you need to create them. And the golden rule you want to follow with LODs is that each step down in resolution, which is what LODs are, they are slightly less detailed versions of the original one, which is usually LOD 0, or usually it is always. I've never encountered any other instances where it isn't the LOD 0. And what you want to do is you want to half the number of triangles, give or take. It's just a golden rule, like a guideline. You want to half it, so we can kind of look, see if, so this is a downloaded asset. Let's see if they actually follow that. So triangle-wise, the highest one is roughly 13,000. The next one, 6.6, which is good. That's close to half. And the last one, 3.2 thousand. So all of these are in thousands. So they follow the rule, which is great. You're wondering how lighting works in Blender, or if there's many methods. So my expertise isn't in lighting in Blender. So the way you would light stuff in Blender, to my knowledge, is roughly just single method. Although you can have different types of lights, like you can have directional, which means just from one direction, you have lights just coming down on your asset. You can move it whatever you want in the scene, it will always be lit from that side. And then you have point light, which is what it looks like. It's like a point in your scene that pushes lights from the center of it out, like a sun, kind of. Then you have spotlight. All these are standard stuff, but then you have spotlight, which is more like a spotlight. Like you regular, it points similar to directional light in one direction, but it's circular light that hits a specific area depending on the width of spotlight. And lastly, I believe you have either called rectangle light or plane light or something like that. Similar to spotlight, limited area lights up, but it's a flat plane, kind of like my key lights, which is just a diffused plane that shows, that emits light. Other than that, you can have render types, render methods, and these are different, very different. I'm not lagging, am I? Again, seems like I'm lagging. No, I seem to be moving fine. I'm waving to y'all, just looking at it. That seems to be fine. So hopefully that answered your question, Mohammed. I'll go through Aaron. Like 3 now. And the shadow effect. So right now, I'm not really using any light methods. To be honest, this is more standard, simple. Maybe there is some kind of light. Yeah, there is a standard HDR light. That's what it's called, right? HDR, isn't it? Which is a quite accurate depiction of a point in time where someone went around and grabbed like a panorama, a 360 view of a scene. You can see you have multiple versions of them. I can swap around. So we can go to this one. This kind of helps you see what a physically correct material would look like in more realistic light environments. So we can kind of increase this a bit. Actually, kind of nice. Right. Awesome questions, by the way. Love it. So, I've already mentioned you need your LEDs. And in Blender, from Blender, I need to specify this. This is how Blender works. Other softwares have slightly different methods. I think, for example, Maya, you have to go through like a menu option, menu feature, and select kind of create LED groups from that using that system. Here in Blender, you grab something called a axis, empty plane axis. Unless you're downloaded as already has this, which is this empty one up here. Sorry. Your parent or your stuff to this empty axis or empty object. Once you've done that, you need to kind of check in your objects menu that your trees, or in this case static meshes, don't have a custom property, but your empty object needs something called a string. So we just create a new one. You will go to settings, you rename it to, or change the type to string. You go fx type, and you will also call the default value for the fx type string LOD group on one name, and it needs to what I believe it's called, is it camel capitulation? No, that was not even close. The first letter of each word in that single string needs to be capitalized, I believe. Might not be absolutely necessary. That is what I've seen online, and it works. So I've done that. As you can see, I already have it down here. I delete that. Also, what's going to happen likely, once you created one, it will likely show you 1.0. So let's do this. And a quick way to change that, because it needs to be a string, is you hover your cursor over the value. This works for most values or channel boxes in Blender, and just press backspace. And it should default back to its original default. And that's it. That should be it. You should have all your LODs, your custom property. So now all you need to do is kind of do the export. So I'm going to select them all. We're going to start with the empty. Then you can either go Control A to select everything. Sorry, just A to select everything in the scene, or shift click all your assets. Go to export. Well, I can show you the default way. Get it. FBX export. And in here, you want to I have a preset, but you want to make sure all these options are selected. So selected objects makes sense because we have selected. Then you want to make sure these two, which is empty and mesh, are selected, and you do that by holding down shift. Then you can select more than one. Custom properties, super important. Probably the most important part compared to regular exports. And then it's kind of the same all the way down. You need to have Z up, which is the same as Unreal. Don't think you need these, but they are by default selected. In geometry, change smoothing to face, and I believe that is it. You should be all ready to go. I do try to make sure triangle face and apply modifiers are applied. So once you've done that, you just select a place to export these things. Now I need to kind of think. I pushed in environment, vegetation, trees first. This is a fir tree. Select the name you want. In this case, fir tree large 01. All underscores between, and export. And it should be done. At least in Blender. Now, Unreal, I believe I didn't do much other than just click import. All the settings should be fine as it is by default. Just make sure one call, because of the pop-up window, just make sure other settings in the pop-up window are default and that import LODs are selected. Other than that, you should be fine. Just click select or import. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of it. And there are a few settings inside Unreal once you've done the import that we could go through, but the default ones should be working. What we want to adjust in the future is how far away from an object and we are the object. Okay, let's do that one more time. So there's something called screen size something in Unreal, which determines screen size percentage, which determines if the object occupies, let's say, 50% of the scene, then it should be using LOD 0. If it's 20% of the scene, or the screen, not scene, screen, it should be LOD 1. And you go back. And you try to make sure the transition between each LOD is as unnoticeable as possible. Is that even a word? Unnoticeable? Yeah, it should be a word. And you adjust the values as you zoom out from your asset. But we'll go through all of that probably later in the stream, or maybe in the next one. Maybe. We'll see. For now, let's go to new scene. Save, sure. Or not, I didn't save. Let's see. Let's see if I can't find an asset to work with. I'll likely grab a rock or something along those lines. I think that could be the easiest to kind of start creating the pipeline for this. Where is it though? Got that one. Source assets, downloads, Fab, no. Right, I put it on my hard drive, my Google Drive. It should be this one. And we're going to the library. What should we go with? A rock. How about rock snow pile? Let's see what that looks like. I should have its thumbnail. So this will be a good start, I think. That's showing up perfectly. Yeah. This is a Megascan asset, so it's not my personal one. I might, depending on the license, believe the Megascans assets might be free to use in a project and sell. I'm not 100% sure, but I will confirm all of that afterwards later on, which might be a mistake I might have to do right now. Either way, that is what I'm going to do. And from the file, go like so. I'm going to remove you. That's an import. Go to the correct folder. Select the raw FBX, and hopefully it will not crash. Not even ChatGPT didn't answer the way I like. I think because I did ask you did ask the correct questions. You thought you asked the right thing, well, you didn't get the answer you wanted. I'm careful with AI when it comes to these things. I've seen some weird situation where it just hallucinated everything. Other than that, just for learning, like if you want to learn about something like a concept, or yeah, I would say just learning stuff, I'd say it's fairly correct in most cases. At least when I do have some knowledge in topic, I can kind of tell whether or not it's good. But yeah. A huge map, well, in this case, it's not really a huge map. I think this one is an asset that is give or take 4 meters long and wide. All right, so the thing we're going to do with this one, first of all, make sure the number of triangles isn't insane. I guess it is probably, ooh, yeah, that's a lot. So let's see, we can check the number of triangles if we go to this overview up here, viewport overlays, and then select statistics. And we can see we are looking at 1 million. Awesome. And here's something I'm slightly concerned about. The next step, I realized this yesterday at 3 a.m. I'm not sure Blender will be able to decimate this one. So it is going to be somewhat of a gamble. If it doesn't work, I have a few options. One, we might try ZBrush instead, though I'm not sure it's installed on my computer. Amazing prep, right? Alternatively, we could see if Unreal can't handle a decimation. First, you could try, or you can always use Unreal to create automatic LEDs. We can have this to be LED 0, and we can tell Unreal not to use LED 0, but LED 1. We can decimate LED 1 down to, guessing we should probably aim for less than 10,000 at least. Let's try for 5. We'll see. Looks exactly like the hill I'm on top of right now. Oh, there you go. Miniature hill. There you go. All right, so first step, let's see if we can't find the decimation, right? Yeah, decimate, that's the one. Honestly, let's save first, because things can go wrong quickly. So I should probably have it in the environment section. Maybe let's go to new folder. Instead of vegetation, this would likely be just rocks. Yes. Rocks. Yep, rocks. This was a rock, right? Or was it a cliff? Can't remember. What was it called? Rocky snow pile. Yeah, it has something to do with rocks. We're gonna call it. Let's just call it Rocky snow pile. Should we go with 01? We could use the same name as the Megascans asset, but prefer just do 01 instead as a number. There we go. Also, honestly, before we do the decimation, I just turned it off. Let's make a shading like a material so we can see if the decimation kind of affects the UVs more than we want. Some effect, some change will happen, but what we don't want to happen is the edges, kind of the border of your UVs to kind of explode. Not the right word. Just not bit the texture data anymore. So let's see. Let's go to this guy. Go to this. Let's call this Rocky Snow. M for material. Hopefully that makes sense. They should, right? Brown Rocky Hill? Hopefully not. Should be white when I'm done, at least. Let's go grab that path this way. Let's see. What do we have? Could probably make them. Come on. Give me the right one. So we want to start with base color. Bring that in. Add it to base color. Also, you kind of like to work with snapping. So let's make sure those are selected first. The Grand Canyon? I mean, rocks are rocks, right? But Everest, I'd say this is probably closer to Everest than the Rockies. No, sorry, not the Rockies, the Grand Canyon. Not sure if it's even near the Rockies. Look, let's see. Next one will be normal. As you can see, these are 8K, which is absolutely insane. So it might be, honestly, might be too much. Let's also grab roughness. Do I need other ones? We could use AO. We don't really need to. And also, to be honest, both of these might not be necessary, to be honest. Oh, shit. I can't remember this. I need to answer a question for myself. Is Blender using OpenGL or DirectX? Good question. Let's see. OpenGL. All right, fair enough. So what we're going to do. First of all, I need to have this window open. Just for my personal It's for me, not for everyone else. So what we need to do, I'm betting on this map being rendered in DirectX, which means the green channel compared to an OpenGL normal map is inverted. So what normally on a OpenGL map you would have, like, I don't remember the exact order. Let's say the white values or the brighter values are on top, reflecting. That doesn't make sense. The point is the values are inverted, where DirectX has darker values and OpenGL would have brighter values. What we need to do, if this is DirectX, breakfast, yeah, go for it. See you in a bit. So what we need to do, first of all, I'll use a curve. Should be able to just use a curve, right? Go with a RGB curve. Make sure we're on the green channel. We should just be able to do this. Come on. There we go. And that should invert the green channel. Next, never remember the name of this one. It's normal something. I believe it's normal map. Do I need to change this? No, I don't think. I've never really learned what these differences are. I'm pretty sure we're using tangent space, so this one needs to be in this color. This one needs to be in normal. That should be correct. And this one, let's do a separate color. Because roughness isn't a vector 3 node, so it doesn't use all, shouldn't use all the red, green, and blues, or all channels. You can see because the input right there is gray, so it's using a single channel. So we're just going to grab the red from this extract version, and that should be it. Metallic, of course, non-metallic, so 0 all the way should be enough. I think that's it. Go back to modeling. Get the material. Let's make sure we don't have wireframe on. Here we go. It's not perfect. Photo scanning isn't perfect, but from a distance, pretty good. Now that I look at it, it doesn't look right, doesn't it? Right, I forgot something. Important. Base color should be color space sRGB. Roughness needs to be non-color. And the normal map needs to be... Where are you? Is it also non-color? No, it's not, right? No, that's correct. No, it's not. One of these needs to be changed. I'm pretty sure this one. Is it this? What have I done wrong? Okay, so that did not work. You know what? Let's just... Why didn't that work, by the way? Not sure. So the curve messed something up, but it still needs to be swapped, right? Yeah, still needs to be in non-color. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. There we go. So now that we have a shader, we can see the results. Let's see if we can't decimate this thing. Before I do that, I'm going to save, because now I'm scared that this will not work, to be honest. Collapse, yeah. Unsub, no. Planar, so geometry, form planar polygons. That does not sound correct. Enable that. Let's try something like half to start with. I clicked. Let's see if something crashes. So far, so good. Nothing happened. Let's activate the statistics in modeling tab. Okay, we're down to 500,000. Way too much. I need to take this in steps. If we do that, we should go down to 250,000, give or take. Yes. So far, so good. 10%. All right. So there's no real difference in compute, it seems like, between 50% and 10%. So we could probably go the final value, which should be, I said roughly take 5,000, right? Let's try 10,000 first. So if I do that, okay, that worked out fine. So let's see what the waveform looks like. So this is insane. So let's see, this is what it looks like at 10,000. And if I uncheck this, this is 1 million. So yeah, you can definitely see a difference, especially in this area right here. So if you give it a minute. Actually already swapped. I didn't notice. So that's great. Knowing that 10,000 and 1 million is give or take, in looks, at least as far as I can tell, looks the same. So we're in the right direction. Yep, awesome. So let's see. So now the question becomes, should I create the LEDs also, like the final ones? Or should I do the LEDs inside Unreal? I think let's go, while we're in Blender, let's just do everything in here. Yeah, let's do that. Do we like that? Oh, that's the wrong one. First, I'm going to go to this. Because my head, because of lack of sleep, don't remember what I called this thing. I think it was Rocky Snow something. Rocky Snow Pile, that's what I called it. I'm just going to copy that name. I'm going to rename the root, the main parent. We also can rename the mesh, call it LOD0. Something I like to do is go down to the data tab and drag this icon into this channel box right here. And now, okay, it didn't like that. Please just work. Thank you. So what you can see now they're named the same. Is it important? Do you need to do this? Likely not. I haven't seen anything that kind of points to this being necessary, but I kind of like what it looks like, and it takes me like 3 seconds, so why not? Let's see. Let's confirm that it's also triangles. It is, which makes sense because it was triangles to begin with. Save again, because you never know. I'm going to make, how many copies do I think I need? Chances are 3 LEDs will be more than enough. And my logic is most of these things will not be seen from a distance, because we're going to be most of the times in the game, we're going to be inside the forest, and there's going to be a ton of trees in the way, so chances are beyond LED 1, which makes 2 LEDs, chances are we're not going to see the third one. A lot. I guess, though, so we'll have to wait and see. For now, I'm just going to make copies of this thing, and it's already... Maybe I should have committed. I do have the raw file, so I should probably just commit. Well, there you go. I'm also going to open this option. You just like to have this. This icon allows you to kind of turn off selectability. So if I do this, I can't select these assets in the level, which could be nice if you're working with a lot of assets. You don't want to change a few of them because you've already finished those assets. You can have this option. And this one, of course, you have turn off. This one turns off from render, but also more permanent turn off. The visibility is not affected by the hot command or the quick command of H and Alt H if you have this option turned on. The eye, though, is affected by the hotkeys H and Alt H. So let's just hide this one. I think I pressed way too many buttons. Let's see. I need to double check. This is my second stream with a new setup for OBS. So hopefully nothing is breaking on me. Still kind of paranoid. I need at least maybe 10 streams more. I feel like I'm confident that everything's working perfectly. It seems to be fine. All right, so LOD. This should be LOD 1. Incorrectly. There you go. And we're going to go and drag this down. And I'm going to commit or apply the first decimate on this one. Mostly because it's easier to work with, and I do still have the original. You know what? It makes more sense just to commit to this one. I'm just going to apply it. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete this for now. Add a decimate to this one. I'm going to make it half. Let's hide the other one for now. That's 5,000. Make a copy of this one. It's a lot easier to work with. LOD2. Right? Yep. Data, move. Yeah, everything's more easier to work with right now. Apply. Add. Do I need to do it this way? No. Just, I think personally, it just makes more sense. It's easy to work with. 2.5. Probably go lower. Yeah, I could definitely go low. I'm not going to. I don't need to right now, I think. Again, confirm. Yep. 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 Rock snow pile. Tier wise, we're working with the Rocky Snow. Let's name it fully. No, that's not the one. There we go. Is there anything else I should be aware of? The data, honestly, don't really need to affect this. Sometimes when you import an asset, Megascans usually, in my experience, is really good with this. It's like top quality stuff. But it could be that if you import a mesh from, I guess, anywhere into Blender, you might see the normals being weird. And if that is the case, it might either be the texture itself, or it could be this one. So if you see, well, the texture, sorry, let's remove the texture part. So it's not the texture. If you see your asset without a texture, if you go to solid mode, and you see the normals looking weird, in this case, that honestly, a bit weird. That's more due to the decimation, I think, than anything else. And I do have, which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah, I have this on, so it looks a bit weird. Either way, the point is, if it does look really weird to you, like worse than this, try just remove the clear custom normals data. We can just try it out and you can see there was a slight change in the normals. So that could be an option just to make sure everything looks great. And then you can always add shade smooth in Unreal or in Blender. And the reason why nothing happened right now, I'm doing is because I had the other data imported. It was overriding my change. So yeah. Looks decent enough, I think. I'm sorry. Beg your pardon? Did I mess something up? Looks like I did. What the hell happened? Wait, what? Why is it missing? And why is only this one showing? That doesn't make sense, does it? Let's try to do this again. Oh yeah, we got ads coming up soon. It says 10 seconds, but usually there's some, yeah, it might start in like a minute instead. All right, let's try that again. Why is it doing this? Apply. Is that the problem? So that's fine. Not sure what happened. Either way. Also, I need to make sure no custom data or custom properties. All right, so let's do it this way then. 1, 2, 3. That was probably 4. All right, I forgot. Click. There we go. There we go. Let's try this again. Call you load 1. I'm going to do it slightly different this time. Let's do it this way. I'm going to add a decimate. Like so. Going to control L. Link. Copy modifier, sorry. There you go. All right, let's see if we can't step this up a bit. So let's go to load 1. Let's do 5%. Load 2. Let's do 0.25%, which is half of 50. There you go. Again, make sure this is correct. I'm really surprised. Not sure what happened earlier. So let's do a save. Now we're in the right spot. I'm just gonna isolate these one by one. There we go. Yeah, looks correct. Go out of wireframe. Let's go to the empty object and to object tab, custom properties, and new. Change the setting. Type needs to be string. Property name needs to be FBX type. I'm not sure if that is absolutely necessary, but that is what I see online, so we're going to go with that. We can call it LOD group. Press enter. Okay. I'm also going to launch Writer. Going to load my project. That might take a minute or so. So let's do it now. Is there anything else I need to do? Don't think there is. All right, let's just rename this one. Let's call it pile. There's 3. I'm also going to press this called fake user. Just prevents the material from being deleted. I don't think that is going to be an issue. Usually, I've rarely ran into that issue, but I do. Every now and once once I do remember to use the fake user, I do tend to activate that. Just a safety measure. Don't want to wake up one day or launch Blender one day and just see all the materials with this specific one is gone. So better safe than sorry. So everything looks fine. So let's make sure we get Unreal going. So once we've confirmed that this works, well, it does. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did the exact same steps last stream and didn't work. Now, in between streams, I tried it out. It did work. So I'm very much confused as to why it didn't work. But we'll see. I tried it a few times on a few assets between streams and it worked each time. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, Unreal is launched. So let's move it over to this window. As you can see, I've already done a few things off stream. These assets are proper assets, not placeholders. We do have some placeholders in the back. We do have these. So we're going to change all of these, hopefully by the end of the day. But we'll see. So Unreal launched perfectly fine. We got environment, we got vegetation. Call this one rocks. Another question. I have 2 options when it comes to sorting my folders. I could either create a new folder specific for this asset, or I can just leave it in the same folder as with all the other assets. So it's going to be in this one. That includes textures. I'm not going to do that. My logic is this, or my reasoning. This asset has custom or unique textures. I can have the textures and the FBX in the same folder together with its material instance. We're going to create one later on. And there's just not going to be any weird stuff or mix up going on. The difference between, for example, this fur texture, actually I'd already done this, but the difference is that I can have all my assets in one folder because they share all the fur trees that I'm going to import later on share the same textures. So technically, they could be all in the same folder as fur folder, rather than fur tree large one folder or that something like that. But maybe just this is actually kind of decent. We'll see. I'm likely not going to move it now. That might mess things up because I'd already created, as you can see, 1 or 2 materials. So yeah, I'll keep it as is for now. With rocks, I'm going to create a custom or a unique folder for this one. So rocks, right? Rocks, snow, pile, 01. And I'm guessing I didn't do that for this one, did I? No, I did not. Let's do it this way. I do want to mirror the folder structure I have inside the content folder, which is this for Unreal, and the raw or source assets folder I have stored on Google. And the reason I store it on Google, by the way, is that the raw and source assets, whatever you want to call them, are higher in memory usage, and I don't want them to be uploaded to the GitHub or my repository. So should someone come into this environment and let's say they're pure coders, they shouldn't have to download all the source files. So if you have a coder who doesn't need or doesn't have a computer that can accept and download all those assets, low memory stuff, they don't need it, to be honest. They just code, then they can just download the repository. Hopefully that should be enough. I think I've set up correctly that they get the binary files and things like that, and not the FBX or the PNGs, because they don't need that. All they need is the binaries. Might have kind of missed a few points. Don't know all the details, but that should be the gist of it, or at least what's the idea of doing it this way, this setup. Let's do that. I'm going to move these into this. Before I forget, I'm going to go back to Blender. I'm going to go Control S, Save As. I'm going to go into, I misspell. Yeah, I did. Awesome. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back. It wasn't rocks snow pile, it's rocky snow pile. And let's do that again. So save as rocky snow pile, save the blend. Did I then mess up something in here? Oh, I did. Here you go. This one needs to be a rocky snow pile. Okay, so I have the folder in Blender. I'm going to select the empty object. I'm going to press A, select them all. I'm going to go to Control S. By the way, if you're curious, or you're trying to mimic what I just did, I have an add-on that allows me to kind of create this pie chart of menu options. And usually you would find the export. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Usually you find export in the file menu. And you could do a quick assign it to shortcut, sorry, to quick favorites, and then you would have it on queue. In my case, I'm also using queue for something else, but I do have this pie chart. Let's see, what was the name of the add-on? Because it's really good. Enabled only, I believe it's hard ops. Is it hard ops? Yes. I will say it is hard ops. Many good options for. Oh, sorry, no, it's not hard ops, is it? It's machine choose, my bad. This is the one. So you can see one of these, is it? It's one of these. Save Pi. I think it's this one. You will have to enable that one. But machine 3 tools, love it. Highly recommend if you can get it. I believe it's not free. You would have to spend some money on it. But there's many options in it. That's really good. All right, and again, there we go. And export. Preset. I have my preset. Selected objects, custom properties. Should be fine. Rocky snow pile, port. And in Unreal, go to import. And now the moment of truth. Is this going to work? Let's go environment, rocks, rocky snow pile, FBX. There we go. And showing up perfect. So this one confused me. This is a new interface for importing assets in content to Unreal. I'm not sure if it's changed in 5.7 or 5.6, 5.5, but this is a new one. And I thought initially, when I had issues last stream, that this is where my problems were. It turned out it was in Blender, but either way, this could be confusing if you go to tutorials today. I couldn't find a single tutorial, so I looked at probably 5, 6, maybe even more tutorials. None of them showed this menu. But it's not really that different compared to the original one. There are more like presets. Like them before. At least I think. I can't remember presets in the last import menu. But the important one, if you just search for LODs, is this one. Make sure LODs, the import LODs option is on. I have a few others I will do. I'm also going to do... should I do this one? You know what? Let's leave it at that. I'm also going to have it auto compute the LOD screen size. I'm also going to go through these one by one. So static mesh, all of these, fine. Recompute normals. I tend to turn that off in the past, and it's likely due to my workflow. As I've imported stuff from Blender to Unreal, Unreal tends to, again, from experience, tends to overwrite the normals I had in Blender. I don't want that. If it looks great in Blender, I want to keep it in Unreal, so I tend to turn this one off. And import static mesh, yes, I do want that. LOD groups. You could select a group if you want to, if you have like a custom, like a preset made. There are some, as you can see, default presets. I'm not going to use that in this case. Import collisions, sure. I don't have collisions. I'm going to fix that later on. I do tend, for this project, I'm turning off nanite. Not going to use that. My experience, although many years ago, nanite was still premature. Now, I'm sure it's more than enough or mature enough to work for all platforms or pipelines. I realize I placed my water can over there. I need to grab it. So I'm starting to get parched. But yeah, so nanite in essence, I am not using that. That's kind of my... I don't have enough experience with it to feel like I'm feel comfortable using it. Skeleton mesh, I mean, I can turn that off if I want to. I think I may have done that. Because there's no animation to import, I really don't care. Animations, again, no animations to import, so I really don't care if this is on or off. Materials, this one is like, I don't like to import materials with my FBX because it just creates these extra master materials, which in the end I'm not going to use, so I'd like to turn that off. So what I do is just click and disable the import materials and search location. I'm just going to tell not to search. Don't look. Don't need to. There's no need to look, so you just don't. Textures. I tried to import textures. Might work this time, but maybe not because I'm not importing the material. See, otherwise I might have to do some hacking stuff in Blender, but I'm not really experienced with that, so we're just going to leave it as is. So these are the options. We're just going to click import and hopefully, cross our fingers, didn't work. Awesome. Perfect. Did not work the way I wanted it to. Damn. What now? All of that, it just didn't work. Object data, custom, no, yes. That's the reason. Log group was wrong. So hopefully now it is going to work. And I need to do something else. I don't use all of these options. I'm going to go to my add-on. Weekly. Well, it's still fresh in my head. So it's just general. Pi. Maps. Is it this one? Might not even be this add-on, to be honest. If I can't get this to work in a few minutes, I'm just going to ignore it. What if... I was pretty sure it's... should be in this... no, it doesn't seem to be... So, let's just ignore it. Let's move on. So, export, snowpile, yep. Back to Unreal, do another import. Hopefully this time it's going to work the way I expect it to. There we go, yeah. Delete these, don't need them. They are 8K. We're going to do something different with the textures. Let's see. And we do have the LOD number 0. Perfect. And if I go to this menu, I choose the 3 LODs. So let's do 1, 4,000. Do number 2. That's down to 2,500. So everything's working, and this one looks correct. As you can see, the name of the material we had in Blender is now the name of this material slot, which is great. And all of these looks fine. I'm just make sure that nanite is actually off. It is. Perfect. And also, we're going to have to... So, let's have a look at the play collision. And this... it's not going to work. This is horrendous. So let's delete that collision. There we go. Perfect. Gonna save. Sandbox. Actually, let's just keep it this. Right. So we do have our mesh now. The next step, so I probably should launch this earlier. We're going to go into Designer, and we're going to create a network that removes assets. Or sorry, okay. Step back. Take a step back. All right. So, let's try and look at this, because I've already done some experimentation with this one. And this is not going to work, because this is for foliage. What we could do, let's see, give it some, I'm just going to kind of, we can create a template. I can't remember exactly how that worked. We can do that later on. So for now, let's just do a new one. Just going to select the base, open PBR, and let's do this. Rocky, no pile. And a 1. Let's do 2K. New package. Yep, going to be a new package. Oh, that's kind of cool. I can select it like that. All right, cool. Going to do a new package and do create. And what do we need and what do we not need? We technically don't need metallic, but I'm just going to save it. No, actually, let's just remove it. We don't need that one. We don't need this guy. Hi. No. And we're going to remove all of these. All we need is the normal base color. Yes. Next, we're going to do link. So right-clicked, the main graph. We're going to go to link, bitmap. We're going to find environment, rocks, rocky. No, we are not. I need to do that first. Okay, 1 second. So from my raw folder, which is the download folder, which is like a zip or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to grab base color, normal, roughness. I'm just going to grab which one is height. It's not bump, is it? I think it's bump. Not sure I like that. AO. Yeah, we need AO. Ambient occlusion. We don't need cavity. We don't need gloss. We don't need transmission. That's something else. Never worked with that before. And we don't need specular. So we're going to copy all of these. Copy them into this folder. And there we go. No, actually, what we're going to do... Oh, rather than doing it this way. Yeah, we're not going to do it this way, because that would just bloat my source folder. So instead of grabbing from this part, which makes less sense, I'm just going to grab it from that extracted folder. There you go. AO, base, bump, normals, roughness, and nothing else. Import. Might take some time because I believe these were 8K, weren't they? Yeah, each one is like almost 30 megabytes. That's insane. So it might take a minute or so. Oh, or it's done. Or it's done. Awesome. Grab some water. It's gonna be a long day. Right. To the side, what we're going to do now is going to grab all of these, import them. As you can see, it's 8K. So what I like to do, you have options here because we don't need 8K. That's overkill in all sense of the word. You can either go and just downgrade the like from 13 to 12 or 11, which means you're going from 8K to 4K and down to 2K. Either one of them is fine. But what I like to do is go to output size, select this option, and click relative to parent. You can do that on all of these. And Adobe, if you see this, very unlikely, but if you ever see this, give me an option to select all of these and have them then use the same option, because right now I need to go through them one by one. Do not like that. Please, if you can fix that, that would be great. Next, let's go to AO. Let's make that grayscale. This is base color. Just gonna move this a bit. Base color. Bump need to be grayscale. Normal needs to keep as RGB, and grayscale. There you go. Let's start with base color. And what I like to do in this case, I like to combine the base color with the roughness. So let's see, which one was roughness again? Your roughness. So let's do that. And also I like to keep these like, which one is normal? That's normal. Far away. Like my even numbers. And then let's do normal in the red and green, and ambient occlusion in blue, and height in alpha. Let's do that. I'm gonna frame these like so, like in black. Call it inputs. Perfect. Move this to the side. Give me a bit more space to work with. You know what? Let's move these around a bit. I like this. Like this. Does that make sense? I think it does. Yep. All right. Next, let's move this out and do a merge. We can do an alpha merge. Like so. Combine that with this guy. And then input that into base color. Perfect. Next, this one is a bit more involved, because we need to split first. RGBA split. And then we need to do a RGBA merge. We're going to merge back the red and green normals. The reason I'm doing this, I should have started to explain why I'm doing all this, is that so one thing you don't want is a lot of texture assets. They are usually what takes up a lot of memory space, and all the draw calls. And usually one of the big draw calls killers, like, grabs a lot of attention from your GPU, CPU, whatever you want to call it. And by combining them into only 2 assets or 2 texture files, we can then save a lot of performance problems. Like, we can remove all those performance problems in the future by doing this. And we can also recalculate the blue channel for the normals inside Unreal. I'm going to show you all of that later on, and everything's already set up, so we'll take a few minutes to do it. For now, we need to combine these. All right, sorry. Yeah, let's do this. So that's fine. What's not as fine is that I don't like this to look like that. I'm not sure if I can even change this. Or maybe that is fine. Maybe that looks kind of pure black, pure white. Let's try something. Let's do an auto levels, if that makes a difference. All right, so no, it doesn't much, unless some difference. But so when it comes to height, or in this case called bump, I think this is height. I mean, we could probably swap those around. Height and bump usually are the same, right? Either way, we're going to use this as height. And usually what you want the values of your height map to remain between 0 and 1. You can see in this histogram down here, you want it to be the full range. You want all these values to go all the way out to the end of each side of this histogram. If it's not, it will look something like this. So you'll see, actually not this one, let's do this one instead. So in Designer, at least, you will see this. It's not hatched, but these lines. That means you're not including all of your the entire range of your texture. In this case, all the whites are kind of low. The range of the whites are low. You're not using 1, 9.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6. So you're kind of limiting the options or the data available to you. So this auto level just kind of normalizes that. So we're going to move this into the alpha and then into what's currently called normal. We're going to change that too. So now you can see this weird looking map, but each channel now has a different set of data. Perfect. Also, I'm going to check another thing. Is this using the entire range? It's not. So let's fix that. There we go. The entire range. Right, so this one, identifier, which is not this one, but what we're going to use later on. Let's call it BCR, as in base color roughness. Let's do this. And this guy will be normal AO. Should be like this, normal ambient height. Should we do it this way? Normal AO height. Yeah, let's go that. And this guy, I like to do it this way. You know what? Let's just do this. There we go. So label is what I see in Designer, and yeah, and the identifier is the identifying number for this inside the export menu. We'll look at that in a second. We do this. Outputs. I think that's fine. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned about is whether or not these textures were downloaded as DirectX or not. If they were, we're fine. they're not, we need to fix that. And I think I can do it this way to kind of check. So if we kind of bump this up, if we create the normals from the height, make sure it's set to DirectX, we can compare where the green colors are in this case. So you have greens at the top, so double click you, of course. Also, okay, let's check this guy. Yes, it's hard to tell, but it looks like the greens are at the top of the detail rather than at the bottom. See if I do it this way. Of course, that makes no sense. But if you look, yeah, if you swap around, you can see the difference. But it looks like... to be honest, I don't know. God damn. I'd say this is DirectX. Let's go with that. We'll have a look in our reel, see if it makes sense. If it looks off, we can fix it later on. Because all we need to do is grab this channel, do an invert grayscale, and pump that back in. And now we have a OpenGL version instead, so should be fine. All right, and let's do a save. This is in environment, rocks, rocky. Let's just call it rocky snowpile. That's fine. And next, right-click the graph, go to export, and here we go. So first of all, I'm going to add a prefix of t underscore, which is a normal Unreal naming convention, default stuff. And as you can see now, this dollar sign, paragraph, or bracket, graph, bracket, I'm not sure if that's what it's called, will give us the name of the graph, which we called Rocky Snowpile 01, and then the identifier, which is BCR. So that's why we did all that work earlier. These needs to be raw, and this one needs to be sRGB. I'm just going to quickly save. Not sure if I really need to. Make sure I'm in the right folder. I am. So select, export. Here we go. So I decided on 2K. I could probably go to 4K. That means more memory space, but it also allows me the options to go up to 4K if I need to. And in Unreal, we can tell it to downscale the size. And when we cook project or cook the game or package the game, I'm sure which term to use. But when we do that, once we export the game, Unreal will automatically downscale that 4K to whatever settings we had. So just to give us options, we could go 4K. But that means more memory space for the binaries, and you know it, yada yada. And 2K will likely be more than enough. Let's keep it at 2K. Do another save, and I'm going to check that everything worked out. I have designer, I have the textures in PNG, Blender, Rocky. Yeah, it's fine. So in Unreal, in this folder, import rocks, boop. Yeah, perfect. Then we have these two. Control E, while I have these selected, will open their editors, or you can just double click, right click, click edit. The base color, let's see. First thing you need to do is make sure the compressor settings is BC7. And the reason I'm using BC7 is from past work places. We use this when we had this workflow of generating. To be honest, I am not sure. We did this in the past. It has worked with this workflow, with this pipeline. I'd love to tell you exactly why. I do not know. It is working though, so I'm going to keep going with that. So BC7, and this one cannot be normal map because this is not a traditional normal map. We are missing the blue channel, and we also have something in the alpha, so this is not a traditional normal map. So I'm going to change this to BC7. I'd like to show you something. Alternative to opening them separately like this. You can go into your folder, select your asset, right-click, and go down to Asset Actions. And further down, you have something called Edit Selection in Property Matrix. Big name, like difficult words. I don't like the naming, to be honest. But if you select this, you will open a different menu, a different feature, which allows you to edit multiple assets at the same time. If I go to compression, search for it, well, we should see that compression settings is set to BC7, but let's say I go to default. Now both of them are default. So instead of going 1, 2, all the way, yeah, you can just do this. The reason I'd like to do it this way every now and then is because I need to make sure some settings isn't on uniquely to this asset. You can see sRGB base color needs to be on, shouldn't be on for the let's call it detail textures. That's fine. What else? CPU world group, texture group. And let's change that. Let's go group. Make sure they're on the same. There we go. They're now in the same. MIP load options. And that is important. So MIP loads options. Wait, how does this work again? Maybe not MIP load is that important. Let's keep it default by now for now. But MIP gen settings, that is a bit more important. And I believe sample is default for texture group, yeah. So if you have from texture group, you're fine. If you want to use simple average, you can go down to all of these, like sharpen 5, 8x8 with sharpening 0, no sharpening but better quality, which is softer, 1 little, 1 medium, 1 extreme. It's just options to make sure your MIP maps, which is similar to LODs but for textures, are generated or are compressed. If that's the correct term for it, I'm sure. No MIP maps in this case. No, we need MIP maps. I want that. Let's keep it simple and average. I think that's fine. What else do I need to change? Yeah, we can go to max size. So let's, just for the sake of it, we could set it to 1,000, which means, again, like I mentioned earlier, the baked texture will be 1,000 in this case, from the 2K, which is the raw. You know what? Honestly, let's remove that. What else? Trying to remember. Level detail, fine. Compositing. I don't think I need to change anything here. Import settings, same. I don't need to change anything. I'm probably missing something. We'll figure that out. So let's save these. Close all of these. And now, what I need to do is to remember where I stored my vegetation master material. That's that guy. Oh, did I didn't mean to do that. Darn. I just move this entire thing like so. And right click this folder, update redirector references, which is kind of telling, hey, Unreal, something has been moved or deleted. Please kind of check that your references, your paths to various sources are correct. And now it seems fine. The vegetation has a master material. That makes sense. Because there's an alpha. I could make material for all of these, but that means the master material will be more complicated. So let's not do that. Instead, let's create a new one. So in rocks, let's create a master material or a material. Call it M underscore. Let's just call it rocks. Might be a better name for it, but just rocks are fine. 01. Let's go in here. And I'm also going to also open this one because there are a few things in this material I want to copy. Which is pretty much all of this. or from that guy. We're going to have to remove some of these, but let's grab all of that. Paste it in. All right, so base color, yes, you're going to go into base color. Roughness, which is in alpha, go into roughness. Normal Z. Let's do normals. I'm going to explain this function in a bit. Don't need that guy, though. And let's just delete these. So normal, ambient, and height. I don't need height right now. It's an option, but I don't need it. Let's do this, this. And you are going to be called normal AO height. And all of these, all of these. Give me a second. Make sure all this is correct. So what are we looking at? First of all, texture coordinates, important. We need that to make sure we have the correct UVs. Well, honestly, it might not be needed in this case, because we're still within that 0 to 1 space, and we're not really going to manipulate the UVs. So, is it necessary? I'll say no, but I'm going to be careful what I'm saying, because it might be. But it doesn't hurt to have one. This one is called a reroute node, which is, or a reroute named reroute node, which is kind of like you just type in reroute, and you said add named reroute declaration node. Names are the same. In essence, what this is, it's kind of like a portal from moving all of this data from this node to a place in your graph that doesn't have these connection vectors. And you can see I have texture coordinate up here, which is the created named node. And then you have an instance, I can assume that's the correct name for it, an instance node down here. So these two outputs the same information, but the connection isn't there. So it just creates a cleaner look for your graph. These are texture objects, which are less performance heavy on your setup, but you still need a texture sample. And the texture sample, kind of, fewer of them you have, the better, the leaner your material is. But you need at least one for each texture, or in this case, texture object, to even use the textures we just created. And as you can see, the default down here is a texture black 1x101. And the reason I'm using this, to my knowledge, so, sorry, swipe this. And if someone better knowledge in the chat knows more than me, please correct me if I'm wrong. Everything you put into this section down here will still be loaded by the game, whether or not you use that texture or not. So if you have a material instance where you swap materials, like let's say we have 3 rocky snow piles. They use 3 different textures for the base color. But the one you have in this section might be something completely different. Let's say it's rock mossy for some reason. That rock mossy, even though you're not using it in your game, will still be loaded in your cook. So the computer will still be asked to grab that. And that's unnecessary performance, right? We don't want it to do that. But we will still be doing it whether or not we want it or not. So instead, let's just give it something like really lightweight texture. And this guy right here, it's really tiny because it's just a single pixel. So I'm just telling my computer to, hey, grab this single texture with a single pixel on it. So it will still be loaded, but it will be lightweight. So that's why I made that the default one. I'm also cleared this one by clicking this drop down button and just make clear. I told it to clear it. So these are clear. They're only grabbing from this guy, and I got a crash. Perfect. Thank you, Unreal. That sucks, because usually a crash means some settings, some changes were they're gone. They're gone. Awesome. We got another set of ads on Twitch. And if you're new here and on YouTube, or even on Twitch, what I do is that I do not... Sorry, just 1 second. I need to check something. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I do not... I tend not to work while ads are going. I don't want anyone on Twitch side to feel left out because they don't pay or like Turbo or whatever to be part, like to not get ads. So I do tend to wait during ads and just stretch a bit, just walk around a bit. And there you go. Perfect. Yeah. God damn. Didn't save. All right, let's do that again. That sucks. Not sure why that happened though. Because I didn't do anything weird. All right, let's do that again. Rocky. No, Rocks. Oh, 1. This sucks. All right, so let's grab you. I don't need these. So I'm just going to pick up the pace a bit here. There we go. Alpha, which is roughness, normal, ambient. Don't need height anywhere. Double click. Make it nice and tidy. Oh, that is not nice and tidy. And there we go. Right, so texture's fine. It's going to look like absolutely, yeah, I don't know how to even explain this thing. But we're going to fix that in a second. Just going to make sure all of these are connected, put up. Yep. The next one, actually, we're going to apply and save just in case. So the final thing, sorry, one more thing before we go into the final thing, which is normal AO height. Normal functions. First, hello, material functions. So from this section, I've created this material function, which is similar to code functions. It contains nodes and just simplifies them or makes it easier to read. So you input something and then it outputs something else, right? So we are inputting the full RGB data. Then we are deriving, or not deriving, we are excluding the blue channel, just grabbing the red and greens. We're using something called derived normalcy, which is this kind of formula that you see right here, which is the square root of the saturated. Yeah, it's a mess. I can't explain what it's doing. But what it is doing that I like is that it's grabbing the information from this state node and convert that into a proper normal blue channel, or probably more than that because we're also masking out the blue channel as a safety measure. We're multiplying that by sign right now. That has more to do with vegetation, or when you have just a single plane and you want people to see the other side, but the normals looks weird because the other side is a negative value. So we are using this to kind of help with that. Don't really need it for the rocks because we're not going to see the backside, but it's there and it's not going to affect anything right now. Then we do an append, which is just adding that blue channel to the red and green. So red and green channel right there, but output from this one is red, green, and blue. And output, as you can see, a normal color which we want. We're going to apply that, and we're inputting that into the normal. Are you doing good? I'm glad to hear. And how I'm doing? Slightly sleep deprived. I prepared for this stream yesterday and it took me until like 2:30 a.m., which is like in the morning. And then I couldn't fall asleep until an hour and a half later. So I'm kind of running on 4 hours of sleep right now. Other than that, I'm doing great. I'm slightly parched. I've been talking a lot. I tend to do that. I tend to talk a lot. But I'm talking about something I love to do, so I don't mind. And I wouldn't stream, right? I wouldn't stream. I think I wouldn't stream at least if I didn't like to just ramble. There we go. Oh. What the hell? That did not taste good. Sure what's in them. Did I do something while I was grabbing water? Not sure. Right. I think, looking at this, we should be done with this material. So I'm going to apply, I'm going to save, I'm going to close these. I'm still going to keep that open. From the rocks material, we're going to create an instance. I like to call this mi_rocks, but in this case, not rocks, rocky. Rocky snow pile. Let's call it O1. I'm going to move it to the rocky snow pile O1 folder. That I'm also going to go to environment, right click it, do an update directory. So make sure that there's no duplicate path lying around, reference lying around. Go to ref. Let's open this guy and sign. Our material looks like crap, but there's a reason for that. Because we have not swapped out the default textures. Let's do that. In base color, let's open content, select it. And in Unreal, if you're new to Unreal, if you have a asset selected like this, and you go into, let's say, this material instance, and you click this arrow, that selected asset will still be remembered by Unreal, and it'll make sure that it's now assigned to that slot. So that's good. Do the same for the normal. And there we go. That to me look correct. We'll see what happens once I place it in the scene. So that should be it. We don't have any options to change anything right now. I think that's good because all of these textures should be like physically correct. So the reflections or the roughness, if you want to call it that, should be correct. The ambient occlusion, I'm not sure if that works. I know that back in Unreal, I think it was 5.2, the ambient occlusion inputs for your material, I believe Epic had temporarily turned that off. I don't remember the reasons. And, well, I think the reasons was purely because of Nanite, and this is Unreal 5. And 5.2 was still, like, kind of early in its development process. It hasn't really matured yet. So they turned it off purely during development. But at some point, I believe they turned it back on again. But we'll see. So let's go to the rock. Let's see. Does it look correct? Let's say so. Maybe not. There's some weird stuff going on. That might be my derived node stuff. That sucks if that is true. I think it's true. Darn. Which means I messed up somewhere. Yeah, I think I messed up. Which means the trees are also not right. Darn. Darn, darn, darn. What does that mean? I was pretty sure this is how it's meant to be. It's not the sign, is it? No, it shouldn't be the sign. Right? Because if I look at my derived setup, I'm telling it to use the preview value as default. I guess I need to do that. Otherwise, it's just going to complain, right? Yeah, I think it's going to complain if I don't do that. Well, it doesn't have a default. That changes things. How is this set up in... Because I kind of grabbed this from another... This guy? Or is that mine? I think this is mine. Yeah, I think this is mine. Okay, so that's not what I want. So I want to find the rhyme. It's not this one. Not that one. Could be this one. Yeah. That is also turned off. Okay, so Epic likes to do it that way. How about we try this? Delete these. Grab this. Then grab these. Let's see if there's an issue with that design thing. So if I do this, that off. Yeah, it looks worse, doesn't it? Right? No, it's not. Okay, so this is right. So, well, let's turn that off. So the issue. What is the issue then? Looks really bad. How about this? How about this? God damn. I was kind of hoping this would be fixed. Don't like this. Yeah, that's worse. That is worse. So darn. All right. Can't be a stream. Well, at least one of my streams, unless there's something going wrong. What if we do it this way? That changed nothing. Yeah, that looks terrible. Let's try something else. I'm going to go back to this guy. Go to mask. We're going to separate the red, green, and blue. Check if that looks correct. I'm not sure. How about we not do the emissive? Let's do it in base color. See if that helps. No, this looks correct. The chances are it's something to do with the derived stuff. If I temporarily do that and turn this guy off. That looks correct. No, this looks correct. So what's the issue then? Why is my normal complaining? I don't like this. Perhaps it's something else. What if we do this? How about we do this? Let's do some debugging. So let's throw you into this guy and apply. Yeah, that is not great. What was it I looked at earlier? All right, I think I was in the wrong viewport. Yeah, this doesn't look right at all. I don't like this because that means I need to do some debugging. Yeah, this is bad, isn't it? Right? How do we fix this? This is not my expertise. I was kind of assuming I was doing the right thing. I was following someone else. That sucks. We do it this way. There's nothing wrong with like inputs on this side. No. So it has to do with this guy. What if? Just what if? Really doubt this is the solution. Make sure everything else is fine. Again. Yeah, that is far from right. That is not fun. Could it be though? Or is it this guy? That looks fine. Yeah, okay. SRGB is off, VC compression. That is correct. That is what it should be. So it's not this guy. Chances more likely that it's something to do with my material. Metallic. What if we turn you off? Yeah, that changed nothing. Some angles it's fine, some it's not. Do not like this. Not at all. What if it's the green channel that's the issue? Let's see if we can't fix that. Do a comp mask. Let's make that red. This one. Make this green. I'm going to. Is it just doing 1 minus? 1 minus, right? 1 minus expression takes an input value and outputs 1 minus that value. This operation is performed for a channel. I think that's fine. How about this instead? Actually, no, we're going to do it this way. Invert. Okay. Flip. Okay, so it's flip green channel. So that wasn't the solution. Nope, not at all. So it is the calculations. Oh, god damn. this thing didn't help, right? No, did not. All right. All right. So how do we fix this? So the options, I mean, the quick fix would be to export the normal as is, like it was by default, like unchanged. Let's confirm that I didn't do a mistake in this section of the pipeline. Red, green. No, I mean, it makes sense that this looks fine. Okay, let's do it this way. Just as a test, we're gonna export this as the normal. I like doing it this way, but I don't think I have any choice right now. Let's export that. So it might be that I need to do it linear. You know, let's try that first. Another option might be that I'm using PNGs. I don't think that is the issue. But you never know. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I think it fixed it. There is some weird thing going on right there. Don't like. Wait, was that really the thing? I don't feel like it is. So how about this? I'm going to stop this. I'm going to grab a screenshot. Like so. Go back to substance. Pick raw. I'm going to do another export. Let's re-import this thing again. Oh. Alright, that makes... I don't know if it makes sense, but it is definitely very visible that that is an issue. Nope. There we go. Wrong buttons, wrong folder. So let's see. So if I jump between these, not going to work. Yeah, I mean, clear as day, isn't it? There's an issue. That's good to know, which means I need to refine a pipeline. So this needs to be linear. Let's do another export, save, close. So I don't need this guy. Let's do another save, back to Unreal, and reload, re-import this guy. Which makes sense because this one is set linear color. Right. Should be linear color, right? Yeah. And well, let's just call this BCR. Let's do an apply. Don't need this guy. Now, I had another issue. And that's this area right here. No, was it this area or was it back? Here we go. For some reason that happens. And why is that? That could still be the normals. Or it could be, well, it could be the texture normals, or it could be the geometry or mesh normals. Vertex normals. Is that what it's proper named? So what I'm thinking, let's go to Blender. And let's grab all of these. Well, let's start with the first one, stability. I am going to, should be this one. Geometry data, I'm going to clear custom normals. I'm also going to go solid mode. I see that line. I think it's in this area, right? Yeah. I can't see it here. Could I see it before this? Sorry, I need to test. I could not. Okay, still, let's do this either way. Are these showing, by the way? They are. Yeah, that is an issue too. Let's fix that part first while we're at it. So I'm just gonna go around, move these around. What I'm doing is I'm double tapping G just to kind of have this moving around. All right, I need to enable this, which is auto merge. So when you overlap two vertices, it will automatically bind them. We can do that. This. So this is an artifact that usually happens when you decimate an object. So if you whether you're in ZBrush or in Blender, pretty sure it happens in Maya or 3ds Max too. We've used the decimation modifier. Sorry, 1 second. I don't like this song. Or not at this moment, at least. This artifact might happen where you have crossing, a edge crossing a vert. So usually what you could do is either merge it with another vertex or press double tap G and just move it away from that edge. Some of these you might not be able to do anything about. I'm just going around. Let's see if we can swap out the cap though. Maybe it's easier to see using this one. No, definitely not. How about this one? Just trying a few of these. Yeah, the original one worked best, so let's just go back to that. This could be a bit. Don't have to be that close. That's fine. This is likely because it's angled down. Yeah. There we go. That's another one. There's another one. With this done, I need to update the other ones too. Oh, is that missing? That's a missing one. That's not good. Wait. That is definitely not good. Did it fill properly? No, it doesn't look like it did. Darn, darn, darn. I'll select these. Wait, where was it again? Let's. Hello? Wait, what happened? I think something really weird happened. Oh no, oh no. Has the decimation done something really weird? Yes, of course it has. Alright. There's one issue after another. Perfect. Fun. So why? And how do I fix it? That looks like it's an issue of... Should these be merged? Is it visible though? That's the question. Kinda is visible, isn't it? So if I do that, what else is being selected? Only that part? Really? Only those. Okay, so what if I do that then? I am getting some stretching. I don't like that. But that is over here. Alright. Anything else? No, it's only those two, so let's combine them. Oh, right. That's not fun. Blender, have you messed this up for me? Really not in the mood to go back and forth between these. Is it worth it? I mean, I can see things like this happening. Not sure if that needs to be. All right, I need to make a decision. Do I want to go around moving these around? I think I do. Alternatively, what we could do is add a checkered texture, which then allows us to see potential stretching. Or do I have another option? There is an option to add like a stretching viewport, right? Where is it? I haven't seen that in a while. Display UVs, of course. What if I do that? UV stretch, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So what if we move you around a bit? What happens? So what we don't want is extreme green areas. That might be how it came to us when we downloaded it. I don't see any red. Oh, what's over here? Oh, that's fun. Didn't notice that one. That is bad. That is really bad. Holy shit. What is that? That's some really weird artifacts. Fun. I'm just going to merge them all to the last point. Almost fixed it. Where are you? Need to use vertex. Sorry if I'm going silent right now because I kinda need to fix this. I guess something like that is as good as it gets. So what about this guy? Do top. Let's do last. I think I missed one though. Center. Something like that. Anything else that's an issue? Right? Nothing? Nothing that screams fix me? No. Okay. I think I am fine as is. The idea of going around fixing... Oh, sorry. No, I'm not. I am not fine. That is insane. What the hell happened there? God damn. How about that? That is insane. Unless this is what it looked like. I might have to completely destroy these details. Awesome. God damn. That's terrible. So the easiest way to fix this. How about we have a look at the original? I think that is the easiest way. Let's start by grabbing and hiding all of these. Move this to the side. Let's do it in Y. I'm going to have you roughly... Where's my statistics again? Yeah, it's right there. Let's do 8. We're going to re-import the original, which I stored somewhere. Right? It should be here. Am I blind? Rocky snow pile. Which one is it? Try again. Let's go to this guy. There we go. We're going to apply like this. There we go. Is it that there's stretching from the beginning? There's not. Awesome. Which means that I messed it up during the decimation part. Cool. That's fun. That's fun. So how do we fix that? All right, let's try another decimation. This time we'll go not down to 10,000. That's probably overkill. Decimates. There are no settings that kind of help me on that part. So we do that. So that looks fine. Right? Yeah, all right. It's like 500,000. That's insane. So let's do 0.05, which should be give or take 100. No, 10, 50,000. And let's see if that breaks anything. Yeah, that breaks it. So, option then. Option, because I don't want to go around fixing this manually. Do I have? I have ZBrush. And my experience with ZBrush is a lot better when it comes to decimation. So maybe ZBrush is a better option. Of course. Why isn't... Come on, ZBrush! Why aren't you the same as anything, all the others? That is insane. Like that. No. Don't fight me. Why are you fighting me? Alright, that was insane. Alright. Add this guy, T, then move around. Now select import. paste, path, select FBX, import. Don't need cameras, don't need that. Press OK. Hit subtool. God, it's been so long. There we go. Oh, it's been so long. I can't even remember how to move around with the mouse. All right. We got that in. Going to not even expand. Let's go to, where is decimation master? We're going to go to U. Freeze borders? No. Keep UVs? Yes. Use and keep polypaint? No. Preprocess. That is just speeds the process up. And you can see it's kind of computing, gathering the data, plug in again. I'm going to decimate this down to not 20%. That will give us. Actually, we can just use this guy. Thoughts? Come on. So how about, what about 10? Oh, not 5K. God damn. We want 10K. And decimate. Then we, can I use export? Actually, we're going to use the plugin FBX exporter. Selected, yes. Oh, it's going down. No. Oh, goddamn, after 2009. There we go. Binary export, binary format. True difference in this case. Triangulate, it's already been done. Smooth normals, don't need smooth normals. Going to do an export. Let's go to our source folder. Do this. Let's call it this. Decimated. Please work. Make sure the UVs are fine now, please. Go to this guy. And do a import. Yeah. Permanent rocks. Decimated. Find all these. There you go. Ignore that for now. Okay. So that, I think it helped, but it didn't prove much. Am I being too nitpicky? Chances are this is not going to be seen much. Shabak, how you doing? Welcome. It's been a while. Trying to figure out how to not get this result. As you can see right there, it's deforming my UVs. Don't like that. And it's not even that much better than the decimation that Blender does. And it's kind of understandable too, because it's doing the decimation near the borders of my UVs, and it's trying really hard apparently, or at least I think it's trying hard to preserve those UVs as much as possible, but it's not really doing the best job I've seen. So I'm kind of contemplating right now if it's worth the time to go around fixing these one by one, or if I should just accept what it looks like. It's not horrendous. I go to this one. Look. Okay, so this one's bad. This is terrible. So maybe I should go with ZBrush then. Here's from the standpoint of looks. I think ZBrush did a better job of preserving the UVs. Well, it's an extra thing in the pipeline. I don't like that. The idea of going Fab, download, ZBrush, decimate, Blender, further decimate to create the other LEDs, then back to, then export to Unreal. Really don't like that pipeline. There's a third option. I don't know if it's third, fourth, fifth. I don't know. What we could do is that we could decimate to a higher level. Instead of 10,000, let's go for 25 or 30. Hopefully that will preserve UV borders and export that to Unreal. And then have Unreal do a decimation. Maybe Unreal is better at preserving the UVs. I don't think it is. But maybe. I mean, alternatively, this third one. Or fourth, fifth. Again, I don't know. I don't know what many alternatives. We could go nanites. I don't know if I want to. So yeah, I'm struggling. Hoping to get further this session. I have another session this afternoon, so maybe get more done. All of this is just going to take some time. And I'm not sure if it's worth the time. All right. Decision. Do I want to make a streamlined pipeline which adds more UV artifacts, or do I go the extra mile and use and try to figure out if there's a better way to decimate this thing? I am going to say, based on the current state of the project and the phase we're in, it's better for me to get things into Unreal than have them be perfect. That would likely bite me in the ass later. But for now, I don't care. Yeah. That's my final. Yeah. So, we're going to do this. I'm going to delete these two. I'm going to make sure this guy is actually correct. So we fixed a few things with this guy. It looks decent, at least in the middle. It might be an issue right there. There's an issue. So let's zoom in on this guy. Where are you? I don't know. Let's do. I mean, honestly, that's not that bad. Oh, no. There we go. That's good enough. I mean, some of these details will not be seen by the player at all. So I pretty much don't think it's worth my time trying to fix. So let's just see if we can find the worst devils or worst issues and see if we can fix them. All right, so we got some ads. This time, I'm just not going to get up. Should, but I won't. Oh. All right. So what else is on the docket? What else should we do? I just promised not to do this. All right, stop. really hard not to work when you're sitting down. So yeah, on YouTube, Twitch, whoever's watching right now, there will be a extra session this like in at 7 p.m. This session will end in give or take 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna have some lunch, do other stuff, kind of IRL stuff, the usual thing. So once we're back, I hope to kick this into gear, make sure I can import more assets. It looks like this is just going to be a lot of kind of just getting it, just digging down and just get it done. But we'll see, we'll see. We got another like a minute left on Twitch ads. Another thing that doesn't really help is that I'm experiencing workout aches. That's what it's called, muscle aches. From working out the other day. It takes usually, let's say a day and a half to 2 days for my muscles like, oh, you worked out. Now it hurts. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. So I did some hamstrings and sitting down right now, or at least moving. When I move, I kind of feel it. Feel my muscles twitch and everything. It's not pleasant, but at the same time, it is a positive thing because I know that that means that I'm actually getting some results. So at least that's something. So yeah. We'll see. As long as I can get into more routine workout sessions, all of these pains and aches should be gone. For now, it's there. All right. There we go. Twitch. Welcome back. So what we're at is that I decided to just keep the results. It's not perfect, but it's within the margin of errors I'm willing to accept. And I'm going to accept those small artifacts in order to save some time. That is my final decision. So what we're going to do is this is a new LOD 0. And LD 1 and 2 are not based on this one. So we're going to remove these. We can make a copy of these. And we're going to add a decimate, another one. Go. I'm going to copy the modifiers. So both have the same modifier. Let's do this again. Of course, the naming needs to be correct. And the material is correct. Make sure these names. Again, I mentioned this earlier. I do this purely because I like the look rather than I think it's absolutely necessary for process. Again, come on. There we go. Gonna save. Gonna select all of these, export. And I'm also gonna clean up by removing that previous decimated version. There we go. All right. So back to Unreal. I'm gonna re-import this guy. Still, we have this. That I don't know how to fix. I completely forgot about that. And that could be the derived normal stuff. So, how about we do this? I'm just going to do that. Apply. Let's check. Yeah, there's clear. Oh, right. So when I decimate, that line needs to be fixed. That needs to be follow on everything else perfectly. Fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. I don't think it's somewhere around this area. So we could do. Let's go into this. Make sure we have use sync selection. So we're going to need to be in Edge. I am going to use Text Tools, which is a free add-on. Highly recommend. I'm going to ask it to select the bonds, and then I'm going to do Control-E, mark seams. There we go. Back to modeling. Now we can see the seam where it is. And it should be that line right there. So let's go back to this, zoom in. Where are you? Am I blind or something? How about that? Sorry, what? I feel like I'm staring, missing. Oh, there you go. So yeah, I'm assuming this needs to be something like this. It's really hard to tell. So my assumption is that these are far away from this, whatever this is. Oh yeah, that's not even close, is it? God damn. Its decimation did not work out the way I wanted it to. Really? Not even close? Yes. Probably not going to help. Which is unfortunate. But that is likely the issue what we're looking at. These are not far out enough to kind of get that area, that texture values. What do we do this? That. Mark that as a seam. And where are you? Let's see if that helped. I doubt it did. All right. Do another export. Helped somewhat. All right. All right. I have another option. No, actually, there's two routes. And I need to decide on one of them for now. So I can do this. Let's do this. Do I have layers? I do. All right, so here are my options. One, I can just keep going as I am, which is decimate and blender. Blender plus decimate, which gives me a rough mesh, rough 3D mesh. The downside with this is, if we do negative, is that the UVs are off, and it's giving me some normal issues plus normals. Right? That is not great. I don't like it. Might not be an issue because the game will be in darkness, so the chances that player will see this are low. So I might get away with it. So, but the upside, yeah. So the upside with this is time. I can save quite a lot of time, to be honest, if I just accept these issues. I don't like it in the sense that those details will affect, like, I know they're there. It will annoy me. Option 2, though. Option 2 is I take the raw assets, I add a custom low poly, which instead of a rough 3D asset or mesh, this will give me a refined version, right? It's called ref version, ref 3D. But I do need to go into, I need to project. So what I can do is I can tell it, hey, look at the raw, project or bake. Actually, bake is probably better. Let's call it bake. Bake the textures from this one to this one. So instead of using the textures from Megascans, I grab the data from those textures and apply them to a new texture or texture set even. So I would have new base color, new roughness, the same data values, but it will be transferred to a mesh where the UVs are better, where the low poly is more refined for what I'm doing. Because I don't want to use the million one. That could help. The upside of this is, well, the UVs will look better. Time-wise, though, it will be a time sink. Because I need to recreate the low polys, I need to refine, I need to redo the UVs, make sure the seams are in proper place, export all of that to, let's say, I'm probably going to use Designer and see what that looks like. Alternatively, I just thought of a third one, and that is probably what I'm going to look at next. On Fab, there is an option to download a lower resolution, low quality version of the FBX. And that might be, honestly, the first thing I should look like. Maybe Megascans or Quixel, as the creators or the studio behind these assets, maybe they've already done the work for me. And if I could get a, let's say, at least 20,000 version that kind of projects everything properly onto itself, then the LODs will not be an issue if they are slightly off when it comes to the UVs. So let's start with this one and see if that works. So that means I need to launch, not this one. Let's do it like this. Let's launch Epic. And I need to, let's see if I can get Fab. Oh, let's do this. There we go. So what we're going to do then, we're going to search for, let's do Rocky Snow file. Oh shit, which one is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's on my disk. So let's start with that one. Is it this one? Yeah, should be that one. Let's do this. For some reason that doesn't work, but if I do remove local content, that's great. And next, sorry, Unreal wants to say quality. How about we try low to download? See what happens. Twice downloaded. Perfect. So I'm going to go back to FBX. And now I have a low option. Of course, the textures are down to 1K. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in whether or not, let's hide you. What if we do an import? Let's go like this. So, and we got a low. Okay, okay. This is even further down than I needed. Okay. Let's see what happens if I do that. That. That's horrendous. That's terrible. Oh, they might already have done this. That the option 2 that I mentioned. Because these are not the same. Okay. Okay. So the raw version, I'm assuming then, is the photo scanned asset. The high, medium, and low is then the refined versions, or the retopologized versions. Okay. Which means fun stuff. Let's try this. Instead of low, remove local content at the end. How about high? Back to Blender. We can then delete these. Nope, not export. And I got high. What is that then? This seems to follow along a lot better. Let's do this. Where are you? Hello. Thank you. Still high, like the name. That is 10. Okay. That's nice. I think this could be the option then. Yes, this seems to be the option, what we want to do. Let's see where the area that was the issue is right there. Here we go. The option is to redo all my downloads. Awesome. I might have to do that between streams then. Or I can just be picky with what I choose to adjust for now. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to try this. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to do link and link object data. And let's move. There we go. And then we're going to go to object data and unlink those two. Perfect. Like you link object data. This guy. Link object data. Hide you. Look at this. And check that everything's fine. Probably something's wrong because now I'm decimating it. But these are LOD 1 and 2. So again, unlink. Go to make sure the name is correct. All right, I think we're on to something now. I feel more confident now than for a while. Go. The one. Yes. Yes. Let's check. Looks fine. There we go. All right, let's see if we can't export this part. So do this, that. Snow pile. This should be the last export we do this session. So back to Unreal and hope that re-import will still give us an issue. Awesome. All right. How about this? How about that? Apply. Save. Rock. It's there. It's still there. But should I just accept? Probably should just accept. Which LOD I'm on? 0. Yeah. Yep. I think that is a conclusion to this file. We are just going to accept as it is. You know, and we're also going to try another thing. Where is my start? Player start. You're right there. Let's move you in. Move you down a bit. Can I see it when I play? Hell yeah. It's so obvious. God darn. All right, I'm going to play around with this just a little bit more in between streams. So what I'm going to try is skip the pipeline I'm working on, the material pipeline, which is we're going to introduce a third texture sample. So instead of packing data of the normal and then recalculating it inside Unreal, I'm just going to accept or keep the data as is. So the normal will be just a normal texture, nothing else. And then I'm going to create the third one that contains the other data, such as, in this case, probably roughness, ambient, and height. So we're going to have base color normal, and one I'm just going to call misc or details or something along those lines. So maybe that will fix this issue. And I'm also going to probably spend some time downloading 10 to 12 assets with a high quality, such as this, so we can see that they keep roughly the same level of fidelity. Other than that, I think this session went kind of well. I think it did. And not much else to say, other than if you see this in the future as a VOD, I'm going to upload this to YouTube probably in between this stream and the next. I'm going to upload this VOD. So I really appreciate everyone for showing up. Please do consider, if this has been in any way helpful to you or interesting, please consider either subscribing on YouTube or give me a follow on Twitch, whichever platform you preferred. And I think, yeah, that's it for this stream. So YouTube side, thank you all. On Twitch, I'm going to pass you all along to another streamer. Let's see if there's someone online right now. Let's see.